guys, welcome to this week's video. I know you're probably wondering from the title, what is so very interesting about Iowa that you had to film it and you had to make a little video about it? Well, it's not so much what was interesting in Iowa that I'll be talking about today. It's more so my trip to Iowa in general and how I got there. Now, for those of you who don't know at all, I do have family in airlines, so I am generous enough and, lucky enough to have the ability to fly where I want on flight benefits on standby. And let me explain what standby is really quick if you're not aware. Essentially, if there is a free seat on the plane, I will be listed for that flight and I will get one of those free seats. If there's no free seat on a plane, we kind of just pray that somebody misses their flight or, I don't know, somehow a seat opens. But if not, then I don't get to go on that plane ride. So that's how standby works, and that's typically how I fly. You can also get buddy passes from somebody who works in airlines, and buddy passes are essentially tickets, but so they're guaranteed, but they're also just at a discounted price, and it's something you can only give so many out a year, depending on how long you've worked with the airline and what your role is, and all of that fun stuff that goes into working with an airline. So essentially, as I said before, you can see how this could be tricky. I was not aware that it is still spring break for some people. Over here in Oregon, our spring break is typically just the end of March, so around my birthday, like March 23rd. It's around that week that people are leaving, and I was not aware that during April, people are still kind of taking trips and having, family events going on or going somewhere. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay, so the flights are pretty full, is essentially how it was. And I'll explain where I had to go and how many flights I had to take and what happened into me getting there in the first place. Okay, I'm reading this off of my phone so I don't get it wrong. So what I had to do essentially was I was going to fly out I believe the day was the 7th. I was originally going to fly out the 7th and then be there by the end of the day on the 7th, like the evening, maybe like 5 p.m. Around is when the flight would originally land if I left the 7th. But here's the issue. Getting to Minneapolis is a fucking nightmare, okay? If you know anything about flying, you will know that Minneapolis is one of the, main places people try to fly out of to get to other places. Other than Georgia, I forgot, but I'll insert the name of the town. It's the area in Georgia. But anyways, Georgia is the hub for Delta, so that is one of the busiest airports, but Minneapolis is also really busy because it's also one of the biggest airports and is able to have people fly basically wherever, like I said before. So getting to Minneapolis was my issue because I had to get to Minneapolis to get to Iowa, essentially. So I ended up leaving a day early, which was not what I planned, but I had, as an anxious person who always packs early, I had packed 2 days prior to the 6th, so I had been packed by at least the 4th. And I was like, okay, so I'm ready to go. I don't have to worry about packing because I had been working the next day or so, and I didn't want to. Anyways, it was a whole thing. And so essentially, I'm not gonna dox myself to where I flew out of, but I flew out of the very small airport near where I live because let's just say the airport where I live it's not good enough to fly somewhere like Iowa. That's just not how it works. And even in Oregon, I think the only place you could really do that is Portland, and even through Portland you're gonna see. So I had to fly from my little town to Seattle, and then because there was open seats, okay, so flying from here to Seattle, fine, okay, I did it. And then flying from Seattle to Portland was my next best bet because out of Seattle I could not get to Minneapolis. That was just not something I could do. It was not something that was possible. So I took a flight from here to Seattle, from Seattle to Portland. And then I got to Portland around midnight, okay? So I'm in Portland around midnight. And if you know where this is going, you know where this is going. I had to take a red eye. A red eye is essentially flying, overnight. So that's just what it is. It's flying overnight from, 12 a.m. to the morning. So that's what that is. And it's not always fun. It's not always comfortable. But I've had to do it a few times, especially when I almost got stuck in Hawaii. I had to plane hop from I think it was Honolulu to Kauai, or is Kauai to Honolulu, one of the two. And then I had to fly out to a red eye. That's what it was. So I flew from here to Seattle, from Seattle to Portland, and from midnight to 6 a.m. I think it was a 5-hour flight, I want to say. It was from Portland to Minneapolis. And okay, here, this is great. I made the flight, which was crazy because, so you get different priorities when you're flying. There is, for example, I'm S3B. That is just one of the standard leisure ones, you know, a little high up, but not too low. And then there's S2, which I get, I think it's 8 S2s a year. So I had used an S2 to get from Seattle to Portland because the flights were not secure. And so I was like, okay, well, let's do S2 just to make sure. So I did one of my S2s, so that I'm left with 7 for the rest of the year. And then I went from Portland to Minneapolis, which a party of 6 decided to join. So when a party of 6 decides to put that many people onto a standby list, I went, okay, we should go to S2. So then we went to S2. So now I have 6 S2s left of the year. And then I went from Portland to Minneapolis, and I landed in Minneapolis at 6 a.m. And then from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., I was waiting the airport. I was doing my thing, just kind of hanging out. I did watch a lot of anime and just kind of texted my friend. So then I went from Minneapolis to Iowa finally. And that was a very short flight. It was only about an hour long, which is how long it takes to get from here to Seattle. So again, like short 1-hour flight, small plane. Trips were kind of bumpy, but that's okay. I mean, wind, airplane, resistance, that's just how it works. So that was essentially how I got to Iowa. And now that I've did my whole spiel about how I got into Iowa, and hopefully you saw my little example of me going from each place to another, you kind of understand what it took for me to get there. So it kind of took me 2 days. It was a long day of traveling, so I was flying out from 5 p.m. on the 6th, Pacific Northwest time, to the Midwest time of 11 a.m. So that's how long I was flying. I think it was about a day, I want to say. Maybe 12 hours, maybe a little bit more. I don't want to do the math. You can figure it out. Tell me how long I was traveling. But anyways, that is what it took. So now you can enjoy my little clips that I got from doing things. And you can see that I didn't do a lot in Iowa. We actually went to the Mall of America in Minneapolis, which is ironic because it's right near the airport that I had already flown to the day prior.
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit. Oh shit, bro! Oh.
Now that you've seen me go through the airport and go on, a roller coaster in freaking the Mall of America, which I hope you enjoyed that one-minute clip because I was holding on for dear life. Not that it was super fast, but it was fast enough to where I was like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting this, and now my phone might fall, so I was just kind of like gripping it like a freaking cat or something. I don't know. So that was essentially my trip. It was pretty fun. I went with my friends. Not really gonna disclose my friends only because they're in past videos and that's all you need to know. So it was really fun. I had a great time. We didn't really do much. Again, we hung out. I did some homework one of the nights, which was definitely needed. But it was it was the night before I left. I believe so. Yes, it was the night before I left. But other than that, we just kind of hung out and we went downtown and saw one of my friends, and it was really nice to get to know him, and he was super cool. So, anyways, that was my trip. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching it. I know it's not like as interesting as all of my other ones, but once again, I do like to try and post something weekly for myself, just because this is like a hobby, and this is like I'm dedicated to it, and I want to be consistent with it, because also it gives me time to do things like that I enjoy, because I enjoy editing, I enjoy filming, I enjoy talking about the things I do. And again, like, these are my video diaries that I want to remember later on in life, so I can access them through YouTube. So, anyways, let me know if you're going anywhere interesting these next few months, or if you've done anything interesting in the past few months, and how you feel about airports and airplanes, because I'm indifferent, obviously, because I have family in airlines and I don't really freak out too bad. So let me know down in the comments, and subscribe if you wanna. I'm not gonna push you to do it. Just do it if you wanna. Okay? Have a great day. Bye.